Okay, cool. It's recording. So what I thought, can you hear me all right as well? Just give me a little thumbs up. So what I thought I would do is give a little overview about the Healy, the time that we're coming into, frequency, energy, quantum tech. I'm really excited about this new space that we're going into, this new paradigm of health that is, and consciousness that is birthing on the planet. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then in particular, the bioresonance device that I have been working with, the Healy, which is here. I'm running a program currently on it now called Coherence, which is very much, I love using that when I am doing talks or presenting or working, because it kind of keeps me in the flow of things. And then I'll talk about the product specifically, and then any questions. Those on the replay can email me questions in particular about the product, or your own personal device, because I know there's quite a few people who are going to be tuning in who've recently just got one and have got a lot of questions around it. And then I'll open up to the potential business opportunity that you might be interested in to collaborate with yourself if you're a practitioner or a coach, or something that you want to explore as another income stream, another stream of income. So I'm going to share my screen and take you through a short presentation. Let me know in the chat as well if you're familiar with Joe Dispenza's work, or Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton. They're big in the field of quantum physics, energy, vibration. And I've really seen a boom of that in the last few years. Let me know if you have as well. I've seen a boom of that. It's not so kind of fringe anymore. Like, a lot of people are seeking that work. They are wanting to explore more about, spirituality, more about consciousness, more about frequency, vibration, manifestation. And when we apply that to the human body, to health, then it makes sense. Yeah, I love Joe Dispenza as well. And yes, I had the opportunity to work with Greg Braden last year, the end of last year, which was amazing. And he works a lot in the field of heart and brain and heart coherence, the quantum fields, and the connection with epigenetics as well. So we'll talk a little bit into that. But I'm super excited because I feel, let me know as well if you feel that shift that's happening. I mean, there's a big shift that's happening in the world. It's undeniable now, right? It's a shift of consciousness that is coming into the world. People are awakening to the truth of who they are, to their power, to wanting to take, back their power in every way, in the way that they work. So many people are leaving their 9-to-5s, leaving their corporate jobs, and are setting up passion-led, purpose-led businesses with soul, businesses with heart. So that's what I'm all about as well, is connecting to people who want to run or open their business and lead with heart and lead with soul. Yes, totally. Yeah, med beds. Oh wow, amazing. I have heard about them. I didn't know they're being set up in the UK as well. Okay, just gonna move this from my screen a little bit. It's distracting me. So the new paradigm of health that is here, that is coming: quantum tech, frequency, vibration, and energy. Let's talk about that. Here we go. So some of you know who I am, some of you don't. On the replay, some of you know. So I'll just a quick introduction to who am I? Why the heck am I talking about this? Why am I even interested in this? How did I get into this? So I am a Czech holistic lifestyle coach, a certified breath worker and group leader, author of Self-Care for Life in the City, creator of the Daily Wellbeing Rituals, Wellness Card Deck. I was a personal trainer for 15 years, but I burnt out from being constantly on the go. And this really took me into my own journey of personal growth and a spiritual journey, really, as to why I was addicted to being so busy and always working at an intensity. So I've worked in the wellness industry for 22 years, but now I'm the founder of Mind Body Alchemist, supporting high achieving entrepreneurs and those going through life crisis to break the stress cycle, optimize health, and thrive in life, business, and leadership. So yeah, my interest is in health, well-being, personal growth, holistic health. Hey Warren, I know you just entered in. Welcome, welcome. So Nikola Tesla, he says, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And he developed some great energy technology, which would mean that everybody would have free energy. We wouldn't have to be getting energy from the gas suppliers or electricity. And of course, as happens, a lot of this technology got suppressed, and it didn't come out into the public, as with many things. I don't know about you, but I have definitely seen in the field of working in wellness, particularly for the last in the last 20 years, the last 10 years, I've worked very much in the holistic health way of working, holistic well-being. And 10, 12 years ago, it was kind of like people didn't really know what holistic health was. But I'm definitely seeing a rise in more and more people are exploring holistic health. They want to more of a whole being approach to health, combined with ancient wisdoms. So we look at now, like the amount of people who are even working with shamans and shamanic healing and doing plant medicine ceremonies. So there is a real calling to almost return back to that ancient wisdom and holistic health, which is whole being health. It's looking at the whole being, not just a reductionist way of medicine, which is looking at just the physical body, or even cutting out sections of the body and being like, okay, I'm going to go to this specialist for my hip pain. I'm going to a hip specialist, but they're not looking actually at the whole body, mental, emotional body, energy body as well. So hip pain might be coming from the jaw, for example, or it might be coming from something that's emotional. But more and more people want that. More and more people are doing the inner work. They're understanding that generational and ancestral trauma holds in the DNA and in our energy field. So there's been studies to show that our DNA can trace back. I believe now it's 15 generations. It was first, the science has shown it's 7 generations back, 7 generations forwards, but now it's I believe, but don't quote me, that it's 15 generations that we hold in our DNA. And so if we think about the trauma of those generations, those 15 generations back that our ancestors may have gone through, that we are holding that in our DNA, in our energy field. So yeah, and the work of Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, and Bruce Lipton very much talk about that, and the study of epigenetics, and how, you know, we inherit a lot of our generational trauma is passed down into our DNA, but we can change that through our own healing, but also our lifestyle, how we're living, our thoughts, and so we can manipulate our DNA, so upgrade our genes basically through epigenetics, through our lifestyle. So why are we talking about frequency? Well, ultimately, we are energy, frequency, and vibration. We are atoms vibrating, and the body is composed of several layers, the tissues and organs, which are made of cells, and those cells are made of molecules, and the molecules are made of atoms, and the atoms are made of subatomic particles, and that is energy, frequency, and vibration. So ultimately we are just energy, frequency, vibrating. We are atoms vibrating, which then creates the information field where we are holding our memories. We're like a library of our past memories, emotions, our ancestral trauma, ancestral memories, which is being held in the information field. And in fact, this is something that I didn't know actually. Well, I know the DNA is a blueprint, but every cell in your body has the same blueprint that is stored in your DNA. And each of those cells contains this entire blueprint for all other body cells, with each cell having a data memory of approximately 2 gigabytes. Now, I'm not very techie, but I know to do with like computers and stuff, what I have heard is that basically your each cell like holds like way more than I think a normal computer or software drive. And then think of all the billions of cells that you have. There is so much memory space that we hold in our whole body. And of these, only about 3% is used to store genetic information. The purpose of the remaining storage space in the cell is largely unexplained. So there's still so much that we don't know. Warren, you'll like this one. So this is not actually nothing new, frequency, energy, vibration. So the knowledge of using frequency, energy, vibration, and sound goes back as far as ancient Kemet, the original name of Egypt. So, you know, frequency, energy, and sound was used. Tones and sounds were used. Toning sounds. I've recently got into using a lot of sound and tone and opening my throat, singing, not in public, to myself, because the sound carries vibration, and that vibration, and there are certain tones that the ancient Egyptians knew that would then harmonize like certain glands in the body, certain glands and organs, because every organ and gland resonates at its own frequency. So when we are in harmonization, when we are in coherence, that our body is like a symphony, orchestra symphony, playing a beautiful in tune sound. But when there is incoherence or distortions within the body, within the energy field, within the emotional field, that tune can be a little bit distorted, a bit out of tune. So, you know, the use of frequency, energy, and vibration goes back to our ancient ancestors. And so actually there are many ways of using frequency. There are many ways of using like frequency, energy, and vibration. I use tuning forks as well. And each tuning fork, they work with the chakras actually, but you can get different ones for the organs. And each tuning fork has a tone that resonates with the frequency of that organ or the chakra, to help bring harmonization back into that area where there is disharmony. I will share some of my resources as well, some of the books that I have, but also we've been using, like, think of crystals. They have frequency, they have different properties, different healing properties, and essential oils as well. So we always have in our home like either some smells diffusing, so it might be Palo Santo, or essential oils, because they carry frequency, and so they can change the energy of your home, give it make it uplifting or clearing, or it might be to help you focus. So again, that's still a way of working with frequencies. Yeah, different organites as well. I've got some pyramids here that sort of offset EMF frequencies actually, which we don't want too much of. So I'll use that around technology. And also you may have heard of Dr. Masaru Emoto, Japanese scientist, and he did, just check the chat here. Yeah. Ah, cool. So he did an experiment with water, and he found that when you place, he froze some water, and then when it melted, they did they spoke either words to it, or they might have played certain music. So sound carries frequency, so they played sometimes like heavy metal to some of the water, and then they looked at the geometric shapes of it under the microscope, and they would see it was all kind of like distorted. And then when they played like frequencies like what are they called, 528, I think it is, certain frequencies. Oh, hang on, take me back, sorry. So they would there would be like beautiful symmetrical geometric shapes and patterns. So think of, or when they labeled on the water, they put words like love and peace. They would go into these beautiful geometric patterns, which is nature. That is how nature is. When you slice open fruit, you see this beautiful geometry of the segments of the orange or the tomatoes. It's all there in nature. It's kind of like the symbols of the universe. And then when it had things like I hate you on it, then again it will be this kind of distorted pattern of the water, of the what do you call it, the geometry went, basically. So you think of our bodies, our body is made up of 70% water. So our thoughts and emotions have a direct impact, because it's frequency on the structure, the cellular structure, and our water structure, and that translates then. If you imagine all the water of your cells is distorted, that's going to create disharmony. It's going to create disharmony in the body, in how we think, how we feel, how we move through life. So the Healy device specifically, what I love about this, and when I came to hear about it, it just sparked my attention, because actually, honestly, a couple of years ago, I was in 2021, I did a plant medicine ceremony, psilocybin mushrooms. And the next day, while the medicine, it was still in me a little bit, but I was very clear and like receiving information and downloads. And something that I was writing down, I started channeling, I wrote down, was about the next step, where we were going with the health system, actually. And it was very clear, it was all about, it was going to, the way we were going is that in more of a self-empowered place, because it's been very messy, especially in the last couple of years. And so the way we were going is in a more of a self-empowered place, and we will be using frequency and quantum healing in like the work of Joe Dispenza, and how so many people have overcome health challenges and things through changing their thoughts, working with raising their frequency and their vibration, and deep meditation and harmonizing your energetic field, basically. And so this information came out very clear. I was scripting, and it was like, hey, like this is a way that we are going. And I'd forgotten about that. And then when I came across this, my body, it was like a resonance. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to know more. I gotta find out more about this. It was just like my whole body lit up. And that's resonance. That's what resonance is. So this is called a Healy. It's only been out a couple of years. It came out in 2019, but in the last year or two, it's really getting a lot of interest at the moment, especially within the personal growth industry and within the well-being industry. So in Europe, it is actually classed as a medical 2 device. There is support, scientific support, to say that it helps with chronic pain, fibromyalgia, depression, and sleep as well. So in Europe, that is stated as a class 2 medical device. In America, it's a bit more of a gray area, because they have the FDA is a bit hesitant to say things like that, because it's going to put the pharma companies out of business or slow it down. So It's, yes, it is known that in Europe. I was going to say, but you can't, it can't, I cannot say, or Healy cannot say that it cures anything. Okay, so use your own discernment around that. There's a reason that you can't say that. So it's a frequency wellness and therapy tool that harnesses the power of bioresonance. What you do is you connect it to a Healy app, which will be on your phone. And so the phone is like the remote control that has all the programs, and you can transfer the selected frequency program into the device. It has a resonance. It has two apps. So the resonance app is the one that will look at you, and it will scan your information field, and see you in your perfect blueprint. And then it scans your information field and will highlight where there are incoherences, where there are imbalances, and then it will recommend the program and the frequencies to run. So then you can go into the actual Healy app and download those frequencies to your Healy here, which is this little device here that contains a quantum sensor. And then you can wear it like this. I have what's called the coil here, and this allows me to wear it, and this would be transmitted into my information field. You also have some electrodes. It does come with electrodes as well, some wires and electrode pads or wristbands, which is great for the physical program. So if you're running like a meridian program or an organ program, as that goes, or an acute pain, like if you've got lower back pain, and that goes more into the voltage of the cells, so it works more with the cells rather than the information field. So it's working more with the physical. Let me just check the chat here. I see something. Hidden messages in water. Yes, that's the one. Thanks, babe. Water crystals. So it's a very holistic approach to medicine and measures the body's energy wavelengths to diagnose imbalances. It was created by don't ask me the names, but basically what's called time waver practitioners. So these are practitioners that have been studying wavelengths and have been studying frequency medicine, and they are have their own clinical practice with a time wave machine, which I think is a lot bigger and a lot chunkier. So a lot of the history of the frequency medicine, a lot of the devices are quite, they're heavy, they're big. There's something also called the Rife machine, which I only found out about last year. When I read up on it, I couldn't believe like some of the how it's being used. I can't say too much on here, but it makes you raise, why don't more people know about this? Because this could help so many people. And the Rife machine, a lot of that information has been suppressed. But yeah, particularly the frequencies have been used for one of the biggest health conditions in the world. So actually I wanted to share a story of how I use this with a close family member of mine. And so you can use it on yourself, but you can also use it with other people. So the amazing thing about this is, my partner and I, we were looking into some of these frequency machines before we came across this. We were looking into the Rife machine, which is a lot of money, like tens of thousands, about 16 grand or so, I think. And so the great thing about this is that it's portable. So I recently went to Lisbon, as some of you know, so I can take this when I'm traveling, or when I'm on a plane, and run a program as well to offset some of perhaps the radiation or the EMF to help ground. And so I use this on a close family member who was due to have surgery, and she was very nervous about it. And you can use it remotely as well. Because of the quantum sensor, you're working with the quantum field where there is no time and space. So again, intentions is very powerful. So I connected to this family member. I was speaking with her, and I said, right, let's put her details into the app. And I was like, okay, let's run a scan. So I ran a scan, and the things that came up for her was like flexibility, connective tissue. So then what I was able to do was run those frequencies from remotely. We're not even in the same household, you know, we're on the other side of London. So I ran those remotely, and she was like, oh my goodness, I can actually feel like, this is really strange. I can feel something very subtly. And literally the next day, because she's always had issues down her right side of the body from a long time ago, where she'd had surgery, a mastectomy, and then had to have reconstruction, cutting muscle, and so she's always had an issue with like that right side of the back. You know, it's never felt, there's always been an imbalance. Because there is a huge imbalance. It's never felt quite right. And then recently, a couple of years ago, she'd had surgery again around the same area for a lump removal. And the next day she was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. My whole right side of my body is freer than it's ever felt before, like post surgery. I was like, wow, that's incredible. So I was then running some programs daily, and then was working on mental balance as well, because there's some programs for mental balance to help with anxiety before the scheduled surgery. And so on the day, she was super calm and relaxed, which was amazing, because the week before she was she was not. And yeah, exactly, on the fascia. Yes, because I was running it on the connective tissue, so that's where all that, for her, the fascia was like very sticky and tight, because there's so much scarring around there from surgery and from having muscle cut. So yeah, absolutely. And then she needed to be taken care of for 24 hours after the surgery. So I picked her up, and she stayed here for 24 hours. No, actually, it wasn't even 24 hours, was it, Warren? It was like, I ran about 2 programs. I probably overdid it a little bit, because she told me to back off. But I ran a couple of programs. I actually can't remember the program. I think it was Pure, as the gold, which is one of the frequencies to start off with, Gold Pure, which just helps kind of clear out the environmental, the stuff we just pick up in the smog of our energy field that we've picked up over the years. So it's like clearing the water first before you get into the terrain. It's like the fish tank. If the fish is sick, you don't keep like giving it clean food, but don't change the water. You know, you have to change the water first, so then it can receive the clean food, it can feel good in its environment. So yeah, I ran some of the basic programs, and it was unbelievable. She got home about 5 p.m, pretty out of it. The anesthetic is still in her. It wasn't, you know, a minor surgery. 9 a.m the next day, bright as rain, she's ready to go home. Can you drive me home, please? I was like, what? Had so much vitality in her face. I was like, wow, and she felt really good. And I was like, it's not even been 24 hours, you know. And she's in her 70s, so that is a testimonial right there, in some ways, that you can use it. Okay, next slide. So in this time that we're coming into, this change and this shift of consciousness, this is the Healy is at the forefront of the next evolution in biohacking. We are the new paradigm. We are entering this new paradigm, evolution in biohacking, wellness, optimization, and healing. The great thing about this, as I was saying, it's compact and it's portable, and it blends the science, the technology, health, and spirituality to harmonize and balance your personal biofield, rippling optimal states of well-being through your atoms, cells, and matter. So there's also, you can, I know some of you have used this. I did some scans while I was in Portugal. Some of you are on here or on the replay. And so it can also scan your aura. And this is how I've been using it. So when I first used it, I did an aura scan, and it kind of shows where the energy of each chakra, and then I can go deeper into it and look at what themes are playing out with those chakras. what's, you know, what themes are maybe playing out that are life themes that I haven't noticed. So as a holistic health practitioner, this goes beautifully hand in hand, because I'm already, if you're a Czech practitioner, you know that we also work with the organ and the gland systems and the energy centers, the chakra systems, and the themes that are playing out in life. So to have the Healy with that was amazing. So for me, my sacral energy was really low, which I kind of suspected because of an old sacroiliac injury. And but what's been amazing is to be able to kind of keep measuring it and to see that it's never gone down as low as when it started. So I'm bringing my energy up through that, even though I have been working consciously on that myself over the years. But there's certain different things that I'm perhaps have been blind spots that I haven't seen, and that is helping for that energy center to come up. And that's really important, because that's linked to create that center is linked to creativity, it's linked to money and our sexuality, our sexual energy. So just working on bringing that up and being able to have a measure to see. And when I do see it going low, it helps me to kind of plug in through the day. Okay, let me pay some special attention to that in the morning, in my morning routine, or throughout the day, to elevate that energy, or maybe even run a sacral program or kidney program, because that's in the sacral area as well. And actually that's something that has amazingly been a blind spot, because when I run the meridian scan, kidney have been coming up for me, kidney harmony. So I've been running that program, and again, that is helping the sacral energy to come up higher, even though I do a ton of other stuff to, you know, work with back stability, core stabilization, and things like that. But there's blind spots that I can't see myself, because you never want to also just rely on completely the technology. It's a hand in hand. So when you do it hand in hand, it's amplifies your whole being, your whole well-being program, mind, body, soul, energy, right? So it works on all aspects of the human body and the human experience: physical, mental, emotional. There's meridian programs, chakra programs. There's also learning programs. So if you want to, can help you, it can send frequencies for mental focus, mental balance. So for like the family member, I was using things like emotional balance, emotional well-being, mental balance for before the surgery, calm and things, and that really made a difference. It was just amazing, and everything just ran in flow that day. It was like she was the first person to be seen, and I was like, yes, amazing. Because sometimes you can turn up at 7 a.m. and they'll schedule you in for 4 p.m. Beauty, so fitness, there are programs like when you're doing strength training that you can run frequencies for strength or cardiovascular. In fact, I used that for the first time. I went for a run and I ran circulation, and I'm not really a runner. In fact, I hadn't run for a while, but I really noticed a difference. My cardiovascular system just seemed open. I was like, wow, I was running kind of further and longer and not feeling sort of like, oh, I'm gonna stop for a bit now, because, you know, I'm a bit short of breath. I was like, wow, I can feel this. Wealth and prosperity programs, productivity, connection. So the Healy editions themselves, there are about 5 or 6 different ones, and they range from £455 up to about £3.5 for the professional. So if you were wanted to get a device yourself, the difference is that the higher end ones have a range of many more programs. Personally, I would recommend really the resonance upwards, because then you have the aura scans as well. Actually, it seems, let me have a look. You definitely want the analyze resonance one, because that gives you the scans to see where there is the imbalances and what frequencies are required, that will bring you into most resonance, basically. So that's really helpful. So any of the resonance and above. And of course, you can use it with different people. So if you have clients that you want to use it on, which is what I do with my sessions, like when I'm doing breath work or body work, I do a scan and I'm running a Healy program, whatever's recommended or whatever we're working with. We've also got coaching programs as well, which is amazing. I haven't got into that too deeply, but you can look up different themes. So whether it's on, you want to improve your finances, or there's a career goal or something, you can put that intention in and it can sort of determine or pick out in your energy field where are your potential blocks, let's say, or hindrances, and then it can work with the vibration and the frequencies to help clear that through your system. But it's not a one-time thing. It's something you might work with. For example, you might work with a theme for a couple of weeks, a particular theme, and then it's kind of clearing out of your field those things that perhaps you're deeply unconscious of and not even aware of, but it's there, it's in your information field, it's in the quantum field, and that is what's being picked up. So in that way, when you work with it in your conscious waking life and bring that to conscious awareness, but at the same time using the frequencies to help reprogram your energetic field, your bioenergetic field, then it goes beautifully hand in hand. So you can do that with your own coaching clients if you are a coach as well. So yes, I have the professional one because I just wanted to go in with all the programs. I didn't want to miss out on anything, because you have it for life as well. So once you have it, you have this for life. There's no it's not like you've got to upgrade the model or something every couple of years or anything like that. So really it depends. If you wanted to get one for your own personal use or for your family or working with clients, I personally would go with a resonance or above. You've got this one here, the gold program, which is also, the gold programs are amazing because these are like the pure, you've got pure gold and release and being. So these are like the foundational ones that everybody should start with. So remember I was talking about cleaning out the fish tank, cleaning out the water. So everyone should start with that. So if it depends where somebody's budget is, if that's all where they're at, then that would also, that's also very, very beneficial. But yeah, personally, resonance or above, because then you can scan to see where there are incoherences, and get all the goodness of all the other programs like the meridians, bioenergetic harmony. The professional has bioenergetic defense as well. So there is things like geopathic stress, EMF, what else? I can't remember. There's so many. But also the digital nutrition as well. So let's say I wanted to run a program, the frequencies of amino acids, if I'm, somewhere where I'm not getting enough protein or something. So there's a lot more. And bioenergetic vitalization, which is, I use this for my mum actually. So not my mum, close family member. So things like, regeneration of tissue, and tissue harmony, nerve harmony, joint harmony as well. So that's a really powerful one, especially if anyone's got injuries. Okay, next slide. Oh, and by the way, these two, the resonance ones and above at the moment have a 35% offer on till the end of this month. So yeah, that you get a really good high discount at the moment. There's usually some promotion, always a promotion running, but we don't know how long they will go on for. So if that is calling you, that is a good offer. You also have something called the Mag Healy as well, which is going to be the next one to get, and this is for the atmosphere and the environment. You'd place it in your home or in your office, and it has the frequencies radiate for about 6 feet or so. No, yeah, I think it's three or 6 feet, 6 feet, 3 or 6 feet. I'm not 100%. I'll need to clarify that. And on that, you can use it to structure your water, also prosperity programs in that. It also works specifically with soft tissue, any soft tissue injuries, and the atmosphere, the environment. So for example, if if you're working in an office space or family, helping to bring the frequencies of harmonization within that room, harmonization within the family, you know, like when you walk into a room and you feel there's like tension in the air, it has frequencies to harmonize. So that's the next one on my list. We don't have that yet. The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. Right? Another one of Nikola Tesla, because we have to, you know, we can't deny that we're just physical anymore. We're not. And I think that's becoming more and more commonplace to understand that we are energy beings. We're mind, body, spirit, soul, energy, consciousness, ultimately. So we have to work with the whole package. So here are some of the programs that you can see. You've got like your the chakras, meridians. You probably can't see the details so much, but this is how it would look on the app with the programs, and then you would whatever program is recommended, the frequencies that are recommended, you can transmit that to the Healy and then run the Healy on yourself. Yes. Meridians, bioenergetic. Yeah, there's so many. So there is like about 10 million frequencies, and it's called microcurrent frequencies, individualized microcurrent frequencies. So what's happening if I ran a program, for example, if I ran a liver program, the liver harmony or something, and it is taking a snapshot of my information field in real time every 10 seconds, and then changing the frequencies every 10 seconds within that program. So even if I ran Liver Harmony the next day, it wouldn't be the exact same program, because it's taking my information field in real time and it's changing the frequencies being transmitted to me every 10 seconds or so. And as Albert Einstein said, the future medicine will be the medicines of frequencies. And that really excites me, because we need a change. We need a change in the health system. We need a change in for people to be self-empowered and have their own tools coupled with their own conscious awareness of how they are moving through the world and the lifestyle choices that they are making. Because of course you can't just rely on technology to do the work, but coupled with your own technology of this, your own amazing, incredible body and vessel, and your own personal growth journey, coupled with that is quantum. That is powerful. Okie doke. So I wanted to share actually some of the books that have been amazing, that I have been getting into. There is a book called The Resonance Effect. I've just finished reading this, and this is amazing. Like if this webinar has kind of sparked some curiosity or excited you, if you feel a sense of this resonating, this is an incredible book. And it's literally about how frequency specific microcurrent is changing medicine, by Carolyn Mackin. And she has actually designed the frequency programs for the Mag Healy, which is the one you place in the room for the atmosphere. And she's got, I think it's like 2 or 3 decades practice of working with microcurrent frequencies, where she was working with top elite athletes, and she was just fully booked out, because those that were deemed medical failures were being sent to her, and she's working with fibromyalgia and chronic pain. So many things that are documented in here that was, yeah, just incredible. And so, yeah, it really is, you know, frequency is really changing medicine. And then the other part is as well, and I'll open up for like questions and discussion in a moment, is that if you're interested in on the business side, so for myself, I was like, this was just a yes for me to get this. I remembered my my vision of the future of health and medicine and healing and the time we're going into. I remember that vision 2 years ago and writing that down. So when I came across this, it was just a full body yes for me. And then to hear that there was also the business side, that I can build a business around this because it's a social sharing model. It's not like you can't just, in fact, somebody I met in a coffee shop was fascinated by this because I was doing some scans on a friend. She was like, where can I get it? Can I get it on Amazon? I was like, no, you can't get it on Amazon. So it's a social sharing model. You can only, you know, buy it through word of mouth, basically. And that's how you create a network. So this is one way you can build it into your business. You could use it either with as your own personal device and use it with your clients, or if you wanted to build more of a business, then you want to spread the word and share the love and share, you know, how it's, for me, I was using it on myself first and using it with family and friends and clients. Wanted to experiment with it for myself, and then seen amazing results. And then some of my clients have gone on to buy it as well because they used it once and like back pain had gone, for example. Or another friend of mine, I did a session and we did a scan using the Australian bush flowers, which is the homeopathic remedies. So it has the frequencies of those actual remedies, and it highlights which ones they recommend, but it also gives states what are kind of the emotional components. And one of the things that came up for my friend was, it was so specific, it was crazy. It said that this person had experienced a big shock, that is holding shock in their system from many years ago, even childhood, from a very, you know, unpleasant or unexpected event. And straight away she was like, that was her dad passing. And I know her very well, so I also knew that it was that because her dad passed when she was 7 and she's 44 now. And she was like, yeah, this has come up for me in the past week. I'm actively working on it with a practitioner. And I was like, well, it's there, it's in your information field. And then it will recommend the actual Australian bush flower remedy to use, which she could then go out and buy. Or if she had her device, she can run the frequency program of that remedy to her system, to her information field. So yes, there's many ways that you can work with it. If you wanted to build your own kind of through social sharing, because it's just organic, and then you might have other people who want to come on as a team and be like, yeah, do you know what, I want to do this as well. So you're then building a network and can create a passive income for yourself whilst doing good in the world. So and I realize that's, you know, gone through quite a lot. Yeah, and there's a couple of other books actually as well. Has anyone read the Tuning the Human Biofield? I've literally had this, Healing with Vibrational Sound Energy. I've literally had this by my bed for about 2 years because there's just so much information. It's so much depth that you just need to, like, you read 2 pages and you need to sit back and pause and go, oh my gosh, this is incredible. So it talks about, you know, sound, using sound and vibration as well, working with the energy, the biofield ultimately, and how so many things have been helped with that. Okay, so I'm going to open up questions, discussion. Let me know how you all doing. Are you still with me? I realize that I have said quite a lot. let me know if you have any questions, and then I will also point you to an amazing Facebook group called the frequency experience. I'll see if I can get the link in a moment, where there's like about 80,000 people in that group, and they are documenting their own kind of results from using this themselves. So there's loads of anecdotal reports. You can also use it on animals, by the way. I haven't done that yet, because you use it on animals and plants. So yeah, it's very versatile. And but yeah, the frequency experience is a great group in Facebook, because it's people just documenting just their own, you know, how they've used it, and like healing, like facilitating their healing post surgery, for example, or for migraines, or so many things. No, so it depends. If you buy like the lower ones, say like the, what do you call it, the Healy Gold, or you would then, if you wanted to add on some of the other programs that already come with the resonance ones, or the professional, then there would be you pay for a subscription. So I personally, that's why I always say go for the resonance ones or above, because then you have such a more versatile programs. You have a wider range of programs that you won't really ever need to add on anything. But you can go and get expert programs though. So I was just listening in on a call, and there's what's called time waiver practitioners, who they work with these bigger machines. It's a bit like a Healy, but works at a bit of a deeper level, that they're in a clinical practice, and they can actually create specific practitioners. This is that you would go to that are recommended. They can create specific expert programs for you. For example, if you are, for example, somebody broke their hand, and one of a recommended practitioner then created these frequencies to help her specifically heal this broken hand. When she went back to the surgeon, he was just amazed at how quickly it had actually healed. But I will drop my referral link as well. So if you wanted to purchase a Hurley, go through my referral link. If you came from somebody else and you're watching a replay on this call, go back to the person who introduced you to Healy. That's really important, because we keep that integrity with, you know, whoever introduced you into the business, to go back to that person. So I'll drop my own personal referral link in there. So, any questions? Any other questions? Anything to say? What are your thoughts?
I'll say hi.
Hey.
Thanks, Fran. I mean, that was just so interesting. Really loved hearing all about the Healy. Sounds absolutely amazing, and I am definitely interested. I don't know when. It might not be straight away, but it's something that I would really. I got like a kind of tingly up my body at one point when you were talking, which was kind of like that sacral energy that I know now to start, like, that I've really started to identify as a really positive thing for myself. Amazing. All around the human design stuff. And I got a flush of it at one point. It was like my soul was going, yes. This sounds so amazing. So I was just wondered if you could like tell me, like, so you obviously, you don't necessarily have any underlying health issues, but you're using it regularly for yourself to scan and understand. I mean, you talked about your sacral work that you were doing. Can you tell me a little bit about what it feels like for you, you know, like how you feel for yourself using it on a regular basis creates, you know, what it does for you, basically, you know, in your life?
Yeah, sure. And so I mean, yeah, I do have that lower back sacroiliac joint pain, dysfunction, sacroiliac joint. Warren, my partner, always laughs at me because I just say sacroiliac and I forget the joint bit. So I definitely initially felt a difference of that calming down. when I was using that, when I was first using it. In fact, what often happens is when people get this is the first 2 weeks I had it and I was like running all the programs like 100%, because you can choose a percentage as well. And I was running, I mean, they say no more than 3 programs a day, but I was like, you know, you get really excited, so you keep scanning yourself throughout the day. And then I learned less is more. So I was running them quite frequently. You got to hydrate as well, because the frequencies run better when you are you're well hydrated. And so after about 2 weeks, I suddenly had this, not like a cold, you know, like almost like a detox symptoms. And I knew it was from that, because I know my body so well. I wasn't run down. I hadn't caught a cold, and it was different. It was like my system was just releasing, as Jodie often says, frozen energy, because my sinuses were just like streaming. And I was like, it felt like my lymphatic system. Actually, that's one thing I was working on, my lymphatic system. So it felt like that was releasing. I was like, wow, this is kind of having like a bit of a detox effect, but very subtle. But I was quite tired. I was run down. So I was like, okay, let me back off like all the programs and just focus on the couple, rather than like do, you know, so many different ones over the whole week. So you just focus on 1 or 2 and concentrate on that maybe for a week or 2 weeks. So I was kind of confusing my system by sending all these different frequencies, whereas actually it's recommended that you start with the pure first. So I had that first of all. I felt my lower back definitely calmed down. I felt a difference with that. And in hand with that, it helped me. Actually, you may have remembered I did a sugar. I cut out sugar, and I was able to kind of like maintain that a lot easier than I had before. It was like my body was resetting. I was like, oh no, I just don't fancy it. I mean, admittedly now we'll say, like, you know, I've dipped back into it a little bit again, but for quite a period of time, I was like, wow, I could feel, rather than sort of using my willpower not to dip into those cravings, I was like, my system was just had recalibrated and was like, no, I just don't fancy it. I admit I have slipped into the habits, but that's more, you know, my own, like mentally. It's like, not that I wanted it. It was more like just kind of habits. That's on me. Going back to lymphatic, actually. So although I didn't have any underlying health problems, I had an intuitive sense that my lymphatic system was sluggish. You know, I have been voicing this and saying, like, I just feel a bit stagnated. I could just feel it in my system. So I was doing specific things to work with that, like rebounding and coffee scrub and body brushing. It was kind of weird, to the point that I was having dreams about it. So I knew my body was talking to me, because that's like how your body talks, right? And as a generator now, I understand. I'm very connected to movement and my body and the wisdom within. And so I was having dreams like I need to work on my lymphatic system. It just kept coming up. It was intuitive knowing. That feels like that's gone now. I feel like it's moving. And thinking back to those detox symptoms that my body was having, where I was like streaming through my sinus, like my nose was just like running. It was like it was just liquid coming out. I feel like my lymphatic system is just pumping a lot better, actually.
Yeah.
And there are programs on there for lymphatic, so I did run that a couple of times. What else have I found? I have found that it's difficult to say, because coupled with also the work that I'm doing, you know, we're doing with Jodie and the coaching program and Lisbon, like I feel my frequency is raising, and so it's coupled with the work that I'm already doing, helps to kind of like keep it on a smoother track, I suppose. And I feel more, just I love the program Coherence, because when I run that, I feel very, you know, it's a subtle, it's not like, whoa, I feel like, yeah, amazingly coherent. It's like I feel this sense of coherence. And yes, I was just going to get Warren actually to, because he has one as well. I was going to get him to just say maybe some of the things that he's found. Sure, he won't mind me sharing. So for him, he's using it a lot on around his neck and jaw, because he's always had issues there, imbalances for many years, and that's from a martial arts being punched in the face. So there's always been balance issues there, and he feels that has been offset a lot more. It's helped to bring inflammation down in his neck, which he has he works with daily. So he definitely has felt a sense of that. And he feels happier. He said he felt a sense of happiness and peace the first time he used it. Nice. I had a client who came over. I know she'll be watching a replay on this, and she recently had a baby, and maybe it was a few months afterwards, and she was like, oh my, she'd had this really searing back pain that had come on a couple of days before, where she literally couldn't bend really to lift. It was really painful, really bad. So did a program on the Healy. I don't remember which program, because I kind of just go up, can't trust with whatever shows up, whatever kind of is recommended. And ran that, checked in with her later, and she was like, yeah, it's so much better. I can't believe it. And the next day she was like, it's actually gone, and it hasn't come back. And she was worried that, you know, it's to do with maybe like there was something that was out, or a disc or something. So she's got one herself now, so she can use it herself anytime.
And how long do the programs last when you're running them? What sort of length are the programs?
Between 30 minutes and about 75 minutes.
And so how do you integrate that into a session? Do you just get people to come, and like if you're seeing a client, do you run it whilst they're doing something, or do you have to sit quietly, and you know, what's the
I run it while I'm doing something. I run it while I'm doing something. So usually I might use it when I'm doing breath work and body work, and they might have it on them. I'm running it with the program, or depends what shows up. So if it's a program, I just clip it on them, and that's going into their system. That's the perfect time because they're relaxed anyway. Or even doing breath work, it kind of amplifies whatever is working with it, and you don't feel it. It's very, very subtle, very, very subtle energy. It depends. Some people are very sensitive to feeling energy. They feel it. With the electrodes, I feel a bit more as well. So I take the intensity down, because it's meant to be quite a parasympathetic experience. You want it to kind of really be relaxing your nervous system, and not like if it's a bit of a kind of, you feel the tingles a bit too much, then it's as a general rule, it might be a bit too high of the intensity. So you don't really feel anything. I did use it on somebody I know who's had a lot of health conditions, actually, diagnosed fibromyalgia in the past, but she's been going through a kind of health crisis in the past year, where she's getting vertigo, nauseous, just like fatigue, back pain as well. And I used it on her, and she did do it as like herself as a session where she was like just totally like relaxed and almost took herself into a meditative state. And she had a great experience and great results, actually, just using it. I used it twice on her. Just using it twice, she just felt like she had more energy. She had this kind of new kick for life, where it was like, okay, I'm gonna go and do the gardening. And she said she started writing. So her creativity was sparked up, because that's what happens. Like, your life force is almost when we bring ourselves back into coherence or resonance, that life force is liberated and can be put into creativity or into whatever you know is flowing, whatever is required. So she felt quite a difference, just clearer and less vertigo spells, actually, because she was getting
Amazing.
that throughout the day. Yeah
Amazing. I think it sounds like it's got endless possibilities, really, hasn't it? And you know, I'm excited by it. I really am. And I need to just take it all in a little bit. I'm not
it's a
sure
lot.
right now is financially is right now is the right time, but I want one. I'll put it out there.
Don't
I'll
worry,
say
there's no
it.
pressure at all. This
Yeah.
is, you know, I listened to a few things before I made that decision, even though my body was like, yes. I kind of then absorbed myself in the information and listening and reading stuff. Going into the frequency experience book Facebook group. I'll drop that link in it, actually. In fact, let me put I'll put my shop link as well. And like that's it. Kind of, you got to kind of feel into like, like how does it, you know, that excitement and that resonance in yourself when it feels right, when it's the right time, the universe will conspire to
Absolutely. I'll mute. I think Joe's. I'm sorry, Joe. If you've got some questions, I've asked quite a lot.
No, don't worry. I mean, yeah, I'm a bit the same as Sarah, really. That I'm really interested, and my thing is that just sitting with it, because over the last, I don't know, maybe 6 years or so, I've been on the healing journey, and that's been amazing. Actually, Jodie, I've since Lisbon really flipped that round again to say, well, actually, if you're not healing, because you could say that you're healing for the rest of your life, but you're not. You're actually maintaining this perfect health. I was like, that's really switched it round for me. But I spent I spent nearly 2 years working with a lady who worked with energetic flower essences and all those kind of things. She wasn't a naturopath. She was a shaman herself and everything. But it was like, I committed myself to about £250 a month for maybe 2 years doing that, and it just got ridiculous. I was just like, every time I go to her, oh, that's popped up. But now you've been talking about, well, everything that's in the energy. Well, it's obvious something else was going to pop up. It's obvious. True. So if I were to buy my own healing now, because I'm thinking I would use it for personal use, certainly, because I don't have sort of a client base in that way, that, well, I could just, I can continue to work with that, and that will do everything it needs to do by the sounds of it, rather than thinking, right, well, I'll go and do this and I'll go and do that, So I have to sort of sit with it and say, am I just running out and buying it because I need to keep buying stuff?
No, let it come from here. That's it. Connect to that resonance within, and what I love is I think you just wrote it in there as well, Sarah, is that empowerment, self-empowerment, so that we're not relying on the technology or relying like necessarily on other people or healers, because ultimately you have all the wisdom within yourself. And so coupled with this, that might help you with a theme that's highlighting, because there are like millions of frequencies on here. There's hundreds of programs, so there will always be something. But remember, me in my first 2 weeks, and everybody does this, I discovered I was confusing my system by like, oh, okay, let me work on it. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. I was actually confusing my system with all the frequencies. So I just working on one thing at a time with my body's own intelligence, with my own personal growth that I'm doing, and own awareness, then that's creating more of the bigger shift, I suppose, as opposed to, okay, everything has to be perfect. Like because the resonance app will actually never come up with nothing. But then if we go in with like, oh, well, now I have to work on this and now I have to heal this, rather than actually what's resonating most right now in this moment in time, because your chakras are changing moment to moment. Everything is changing in your information field moment to moment, but there are certain things that kind of will be quite persistent. In fact, one of the things, and I'll give you feedback in a maybe a couple of months to see what happens, because one of the things that have been coming up for me when I scan quite consistently was hormonal balance in the last month. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So then I'm just working with that. That's going to offset so many things anyway, as well as me putting in my own lifestyle practices, like getting it to bed a bit earlier. I do go to bed a bit late, or, you know, regulating my circadian rhythm so I'm not on screens late, because that's affecting my hormones. I know that innately within myself, as opposed to I've got to heal everything and then I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the other question was, you said that it was on offer till the end of the month. How often do they then sort of tend to have an offer that would come up?
There's always an offer, to be honest. I just don't know what's on next month. Right. But I reckon they'll keep the 35% next month, because it was on last month as well. Before that it was 40%, so I got mine at a 40% off. They've stopped the 40%, so I think it will be on the 35%. This is the second month it's on. I reckon, I don't know, but I reckon, yeah, I don't think it will jump up to the full price. So yeah, that's me being honest.
So you're kind of getting the level 3 for the price, for less than the price of what level 2 is, looking at that chart. Because I'm very good with numbers,
yeah. Yeah, I think I'll agree with you there. I think something like that, yes. Let me just see if I can find the frequency experience, because that's a really great that's an amazing group to kind of just like have a look and read some of people's stories, because, you know, with a lot of this stuff, it's anecdotal because of the strict regulations and laws around medicine and health and FDA and as we know, you know, governing boards. You can't say, oh, you definitely can't say it heals this or cures this, but there's certain, you know, there's just, if there's enough people where it's been like, oh, it's really helped with this, it really supports, for example, this, I can't say what, but then it should be documented. But I mean, in Europe it has got, hang on, let me just try and find it. I'm just on Facebook now. Yeah, in Europe it is a class 2 medical device, so that's a great thing. You just can't say that in America, unfortunately, which is, I mean, it's silly. It's the same company, same device. But of course, you, oh, okay, cool. Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. Yeah. Yeah, you just can't say that. Although it's, you know, there's so much evidence of people overcoming many things when you just go into that group. And of course, it ranges from so many things, because this isn't, I suppose, like reductionistic or symptom treating, because when you're looking at the whole picture, then it's almost like your body is encoded to heal. Your body itself is encoded to resonate at its highest frequency. Your body itself is encoded to be in a state of health. Your body doesn't want to be in a state of disease. So when we give it a little bit of help, coherence, it's your body that is doing the rest. This is giving it, it's like the jump leads, it's giving it a jump start, and then your body does the rest. It comes into harmonization. So you might see, you know, so many things that can then be helped, because your body's intelligence knows what to do. And that's why it covers so many, that's why it's documented such a range of things that it's helped with. But you can't say, oh, it, you know, it cures that. but it helps with so many things, because when you raise your frequency, raise your vibration, or you bring yourself back into a state of coherence, harmonization happens, and your body's intelligence then has the life force, the vitality, the chi to take over and do the rest. That's really, really the power of resonance. But you know, we need help, because environmental toxicity, even when your lifestyle's clean, like I live a pretty clean lifestyle, but like just things like, you know, the environment or all the EMFs. When I drive across London, I get a headache these days because of just the cell phone towers, the radiation, pollution, like it takes it out. So yeah, not to be relied on, but it's absolutely a tool. Amazing. Any other questions, concerns?
No, it was just to say, I mean, it's definitely the way things are going, isn't it? It's, you know, as you said, all these things that have been suppressed that now are going to be, you know, there's so many more patents as well, isn't there? So
yeah,
it's definitely the way to go.
It's exciting.
Yeah,
it is exciting. It is exciting. I'm excited, and this is a new
paradigm. I'm glad to hear that you're doing it, because it's like it's nice when it's somebody that you already know, isn't it? That you know, you can be part of the group then.
Yeah. I'd love. Like it'll be. I'm just excited about it, because also I think, you know, it's connecting with other conscious, like-minded, like health people who are interested in health and well-being, and a different way as well, another potential opening of creating a business, if that's something you wanted to do. But this is a new way. It's like conscious, business, doing good for the world, but also another way of creating a lifestyle for yourself. And
Definitely.
Amazing.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Really, really, really interesting, and like I say, really exciting.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. If any questions come up along the way, let me know. And if you're on the recording, same as well, send me a message on my email, fran@mind-bodyalchemist.com. And yeah, I think that is, I'm going to run more of these anyway, so you can drop in at any time, and we'll connect again. Lots of love. We just stopped.